Welcome to the planet.
Welcome everybody. How do I even start this podcast? I don't know how to start this one because this is very different. Anyways, welcome everybody to another episode of Earth 2 Reviews. I believe that's what I'm gonna call this one, with a special guest because whenever I have an excuse to bring this guy on the show, the Drunk Geek, I am like pressed because it's Anthony's someone who's very tough to get to do a podcast. So
oh man, the being thrown.
But
Take a little break.
But it's good to have you back, man. Welcome back. So you wanna let them know what we're podcasting or what we're talking about on this podcast?
Yeah. As you've heard a million times, we are talking about kinda-ish. So, talking about season 2 review of Netflix originals, Iron Fist.
Yeah, we haven't done a review for a show in a while, and I figured, why not tackle whenever everybody gets a chance to tackle Iron Fist, because season 1 was the one everyone was kind of like, oh my god, this might be the worst thing Netflix Marvel has had to put out, and no one was really excited to see season 2. Season 2 is, however, a little bit improved, but there might be a little bit improved. Let me just start off with the positives.
Well, what do you, before like background, what did you think of season 1?
I thought season 1 had a stronger final episode arc versus how it started, because it seemed like the story started to get take more of a shape towards the end of it, like past when he went to, was it China, to fight the drunk guy, the Drunk Geek.
Yes, you got me, Mo. Spent the last couple months away from podcasting because all I do is sit and wait for challengers in China.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, after that episode happened, or after that arc happened, I feel like it got better. The character of Iron Fist got stronger in Defenders, and it looked like it was an improvement. So Iron Fist season 1, I didn't really care too much for. The first couple episodes were just horrible. It almost ironed itself out. No pun intended. It almost straightened itself out halfway through the season, but it was, I don't even want to say serviceable. It was a show that I thought I was never going to see again, to be honest. I didn't care about season 1 that much. How about you?
So season 1, it started off okay. Like a lot of times whenever there's a season 1 of any show, I kind of give it like 3 episodes to see if it finds its feet a little bit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Netflix is kind of different because there's no, like, you can binge it all in that day if you want. So you can't really adjust mid-season if something isn't working.
Right.
The martial arts, for the most part, were crap. The acting, what's the actor's name? The guy from Game of Thrones that plays Danny Rand?
Finn Jones.
Finn Jones. I really don't think he had time to be able to portray a martial artist and really get to what a character that's been a monk for 20-something years actually feel like he has this ancient Eastern, philosophy. And it just kind of throws up things like, the art of war, or, Buddha said, but it doesn't really, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It never conveyed to me that he was somebody who's been in this heightened philosophical mind and body environment for all these years. Not that I actually wanted King from Kung Fu, but I wanted some more King and Kung Fu feeling. Like he was on this whole different spiritual level in a way.
Right.
So the story of the first one seemed like it was all over the place, a lot of corporate stuff. I really expected Marvel doing, like, Daredevil's a great fighter, a great brawler, but I was expecting when you bring the Iron Fist and these mystical martial arts into this, we're going to get some Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, mystic martial arts type stuff.
Right.
And we just didn't get it. And I think a lot of the supporting cast, really, except for Wing, Colleen Wing, didn't really do anything for me that first season.
Okay, well that's fair. So now we get Defenders.
So, Miss Wing, if you ever hear this, Miss Wing, I met you at a convention. You're all dressed like Dragon Ball Z characters. My palm was really sweaty when I shook your hand, but you were very kind. Thank you.
Yeah, she's gonna watch out for your what you said about her in the podcast.
Yeah.
But then came Defenders, and we all thought, okay, well, because again, in my opinion, Iron Fist was put out there, rushed out there, so we could get Defenders. I think they strung that together because they wanted to, get all their characters out there before they do a team up. And it felt very rushed. We got Defenders, and what did you think about his story? Again, his character was the one everyone was watching out for in Defenders because, according to everybody, we had seen 2 seasons of Daredevil. We had seen the beautiful season of Jessica Jones, and we had seen Luke Cage. Everyone was like, okay, we've seen all these good seasons. Now you're gonna throw this guy that no one likes into the mix. And what did you think of him in Defenders and that dynamic?
So Defenders, his appearance in Defenders and in Luke Cage season 2 wasn't as annoying, and it looked like his fight choreography got a lot better. Like maybe they got to practice the some, right?
Right.
But still, there's a taste of him just being unlikable from his own first season because, not to throw a race card in, but also Minority was see a guy come, take somebody the culture's most precious item and just leave.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they didn't set it up right. Where they tried to retcon it of, I had to go find the hand to destroy it. Like, you didn't make him a likable character. It wasn't a fish out of water character that was really well done, and it wasn't I'm on a higher, like I said, you're on a higher, elevation of somebody who meditates and gives you those ancient wisdom or access to that ancient wisdom. You didn't get that in either. So it's really hard to like his character. And they tried to evolve him some in Defenders, and they did. But he came off like the kid little brother, right, of the show, of that team.
Yes, he did.
The little brother, you gotta go, all right. He's like the worst. If they were Ninja Turtles, he'd be like the worst personality traits of Michelangelo and Raphael without the lovable. You know what I mean?
Right. It'd be like your little brother who you all want to, all the other brothers want to go out, and your mom is like, you have to take your little brother too. That's how he came off in the show.
Yeah, and then they try to bring him back in Luke Cage, and we're all really excited to see that team up because that's the team up, right?
Yes.
Out of these characters, that's the team up. Actually, think about it. Luke Cage is a really big connection with Danny Rand and Jessica Jones in the comics. So, yeah, I didn't think about that before. But, yeah. So, these relationships really play off each other in the comic books, right?
Right.
And then they brought him in and they tried to give him this aged wisdom advice to Luke Cage. And I just don't buy it because of what we've seen of you. You're not that patient. You're not that focused. You're not... You don't have that. You don't have that ability in you. And then they kind of dropped it again when they came to season. So he was better, but it's still hard to like him sometimes. You know what I mean?
Okay. Right.
And when in the first season, he didn't look like he knew how to throw a punch.
This is true. He looked very awkward fighting. There was like so many cuts. There were so many cuts during the fight, and it just didn't look pristine. Because again, we'd seen if it's fighting, we've seen Daredevil, and we've seen how because he's fought ninjas in season 1 or in season 2. So we've seen how Daredevil fights, and we've seen how we've seen ninjas fight in this world. So if you are some ancient monk type, with martial art, like you said, we should see some type of it. And it didn't look fluid. It didn't look, and it, none of that happened. And so now we get Iron Fist season 2. To be honest, not a lot of people were excited about it. I know I wasn't.
I forgot about it. It's coming up, and it came out on Friday, right, or Thursday?
Yeah, it came out last weekend. I think that was the show that dropped last weekend. Yeah, last weekend. It came out last weekend. Was it last weekend?
Someone reminded me over drinks that Sunday, and I was like, oh crap. I guess I should watch.
Exactly. That was the enthusiasm for season 2, because even when we saw during Comic-Con they released the trailer, this is the date Iron Fist is dropping, it didn't move the needle any way, shape, or form. So I mean, there were people who were super excited because they, we have friends who had seen like the first 6 episodes because they get to see things like that. And we have friends who.
No bitterness in your voice, Mo. No bitterness in your voice.
No, I'm just saying they do. But yeah, and they one of them has said, "Yo, this might be the best, most improved on a show I've ever seen." And so it got me curious. I was like, so I'm gonna watch it out of curiosity more than watch it out of like, it's like, what could you improve? Because we've seen him 2 times now. We've seen everyone 2 times. Or for in Daredevil's case, we've seen him 3 times. We've seen Iron Fist twice. What more can you add?
If you count a cameo episodes, but yeah.
No. We've seen him twice. I say his show, Defenders. 3 if you count his cameo. You're right. So what? So you said you forgot about it. I said I watched it out of curiosity. I want to know, how did you approach this season? How did you say, okay, did you sit down and say, I'm gonna like try to soak this one in and try to like give it a chance, or I'm just gonna watch it, and at some point, if it stops being background noise, I'll probably get into it.
You kind of got jump up. My perspective is when I was coming into it. So my expectations were really low. Like I said, season 1 and Inhumans season 1, only probably season, is probably like the worst stuff that Marvel's put out. And so I came into it like, all right, they've had time. This guy has had 2 years now to beef up what he needs to do to make this believable from his standpoint, because we only can do so much. So they had time now, right? Course correct to get some stuff in. I wasn't excited, but I was coming into it. I wasn't going to hate it. I was going to be open to whatever the experience was, because I want this character to succeed. And I think it's because you said the rushness of it. I think that we naturally blame the people that we see up front on the screen. So I thought he should get his shot to like, all right, my name's on this. Let's go forward. Let's do something and see what they do with it. That's where I came in. I was just open. Like I wasn't excited. I wasn't like, let me like when Daredevil comes out, I'm not going to work that morning. So as soon as Daredevil comes out, I'm going to be up. We're going to do that thing we do on Facebook. We're like, up season 1, up season 2, up season 3, up season 4. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's already my plan. This I was just like, let me put it on while I type some notes.
So it eventually was low-key background noise until it stopped being background noise. Because I'm gonna guess at some point you did get into it, right?
So yeah, so Sam from JVS can attest to this. I was like, wait, yeah, that shout out, little free advertising. I was like, wait, because you all guys have seen this before, and I was like, is Iron Fist not the star of his own show anymore? And I think I said this around episode 3, right?
Right.
So Misty Knight, who it was grown on me a lot because I didn't really feel her first appearance, but her subsequent appearances have really, she's grown on me. And Ling Chung, who have the Daughters of the Dragon series in Marvel. Is that still going on? I don't know if that's still going on or not. They had it.
I think they're bringing it out again because of the TV popularity, so they're gonna probably relaunch Daughters of the Dragon, I believe.
Okay, so they had that, and low key they've gotten their own little storyline because they were teasing them in Luke Cage, right? So that was a great firefight scene they had. So I was like, all right, push these. I would watch a show with these two, right? I wouldn't want to see like a whole 13 episode type thing, but if I did a six show run with a concrete concise story, I'd watch it. So I was like, oh, this seems kind of weird, but okay. Davos is still the antagonist pretty much of this season, and that's really connected to Danny. So on the back end, it'll go more. Davos, I really like Davos in this. Like Davos is a really good antagonist, and really felt like a twisted view of when your goal clouds your mind. So when your goal, you're so focused on getting your goal, you lose everything else that's valuable to you, right? You lose everything that makes you far. So it's kind of like the parent that says, I work 38 hours a week for my family, or not 30 hours a week. That's a regular full-time thing.
Okay.
I make my own hours, people. I don't know what the work is.
So a parent that works 80 hours a week just in, a week.
Yeah, 80 hours a week, and for their family. But then 20 years go by and they realize they don't know their family, and their family doesn't know them
because they spend a lot of time working. Yeah.
Right. So, and that's kind of what we do as people. A lot of times we have a goal that is going to get us this larger goal, but when we focus on it so much, we lose our way. We do that Moby Dick, white whale type stuff, and we just lose everything that we valued about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so I liked seeing that in Davos, and it was a really good character arc with him, and even introducing what drove him with his mother relationship, and his father relationship, which they touched on, but they could go really into.
Okay.
Those are my initial thoughts. The first half of the season, I was just like, Danny doesn't seem really important to the story, though.
Yeah,
except that he has to.
That's it. I felt again. Don't. I think that is a good thing. That is a positive, but in that there is a negative because again, it just felt like, in my opinion, they felt like Danny and maybe Finn weren't the strongest focal points of the show. I saw that. I just felt like they weren't the strongest focal points of the show. So the showrunners decided, hey, let's, this show is called Iron Fist, but we can't, let's tell the story of the Fist and not really Danny, because at this point no one really cares for Finn Jones or the character of Danny Rand. So I felt like they took focus away from him to tell everybody else's story, because even Colleen got a little deeper into who she was, and we're gonna get into that when we start getting deeper into the show. And we got a little bit of the wards, even though they were most of the focus of last season, the first season, and that whole family dynamic. But again, in my opinion, we didn't get much. There wasn't much meat to the bone of Danny Rand, I guess, because they felt like they did so much with him that I just felt like in my opinion, I felt like I still need to see Danny Rand, and I still need to believe, I still need to feel like I don't know him. He's this X, Y, and Z, but I don't know anything about this dude, or I don't really care too much for him. Make me care for him is the way I looked at it. Okay, so now we've talked about season one, a little bit of season one, and all that. Let's actually get into this season. So we might as well just start right here. What were your biggest positives? Like, what were the things that you said, okay, well, like, I think one of the ones negatives was fight choreography. What were the biggest positives for you in this season?
I think the fight choreography leaps and bounds better than that first season, right?
Right.
And I get that there has been plenty of martial arts shows, like I mentioned earlier, that the main star wasn't a physical actor or actually a martial artist, but in this day and age, that's hard to pull off, right?
Right.
Right. There's so many people who actually have talent, and shout out to people like Wesley Snipes that pushed us over that edge of we actually want to see our actors, the Jackie Chan, the Jet Li's, want to see them do this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So the fight choreography leaps and bounds better. I thought the story was overall it flowed better. Overall, it flowed better. There was there wasn't a lot of boring lulls. I think everything had a purpose. I think in the first season, there was some stuff that just, all right, I don't care about this boardroom drama. You're not doing it well enough for me to care about boardroom drama.
Right.
And again, they just took away from that. And not saying you can't have a show about boardroom drama. It's kind of like if you make a movie Hackers, it could be just a guy at a keyboard, or you can show the inside of the internet and get you excited about it, make this thing really, more exciting than it really is.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
So they did a really good job of keeping the story more focused. Right? I like seeing more of Kung Lao. Ward, surprisingly, is a really great character to me at this point, or good character. I won't say great, but good character, and I appreciate his struggle. Whoever is the background people that's doing these Netflix shows, they're touching on trauma, drug abuse, post-traumatic stress, all these different things they're focused on in these shows. These writers are going to therapy. These writers are going to therapy, and they're implementing the words and language they use in therapy in their shows. And I know that gives me a little bit of bias, but I appreciate seeing those type of growths and progression, because I think other people will see that and can relate. Like, I used Ward's story in a therapeutic. Like, I have a client that actually uses. I was, big. I say comics, but they're in the superhero shows and movies, and they had watched Iron Fist, and we actually related Ward's journey to their journey. And
Nice.
and so I think that having a relatable example like that was really great, and I think it really brought it up in a way that I don't think anything else was really done in the first season.
Okay.
So I thought that was great. I thought the acting was a lot better from a lot of people. And Danny was a lot better too. If I had to be honest, like, he wasn't. I didn't really find him annoying. He didn't say I'm the immortal Iron Fist a million times. He was just a lot. It was a lot better.
Now,
And
okay.
the antagonist overall, Davos, was really great.
Okay.
Really great.
All right. Now, would you say, of course, Danny was better because it wasn't a lot of him, or he was just overall better?
I think he was overall better, but I think that could be a thing. There wasn't a lot of them, but like I think that it's easy to blame him. But I don't think that Netflix or whoever produces this, in a way, I don't think they gave him the tools to succeed as a character in the first season, right?
Okay. That's fair.
And I think they should have gave him this season to redeem himself as the main focus of this storyline. But I liked his acting a little bit at one point. He wasn't trying. It seemed like he knew about more what he wanted to do with the character, or maybe it was less pressure or whatever. I just felt his acting a lot more, and the situation seemed more believable of what he would do, except for a few parts that we'll go into later. But I related to Colleen, how he handled a lot of the triad war stuff, how he went to Davos. Like, I liked a lot of that, and how we progressed. A little bit we got.
Okay. Anyway, so that's your positives, and for me, again, the fight choreography was better.
Sorry. And they actually used the Iron Fist and weren't doing it like he had infancy problems. Like, he needed a Viagra to get the Iron Fist up.
Right.
Just use the Iron Fist.
Right.
So
which
that was a positive too.
Yeah, which kind of was a huge negative in season 1, because again, you've trained all your life to be able to use this. You now need additional training to be able to control it. That made no sense. But again, so we will okay, so my positives for season 1 were some of the characters that they brought in, focusing more on Davos. Ward, definitely.
You mean season 2?
I'm sorry?
You said season 1, you mean season 2?
No, I said that was a negative for season 2, about the whole thing where he trained to use the Iron Fist but then couldn't, or found issues.
Season 1.
Yeah, my bad. Season 1 was he trained to use the Iron Fist but then found so many issues not to be able to use it. And it just weirded me out how someone, again, trains all their life to be able to do something and, come to... But then I guess performance anxiety could have been it, but...
But your whole thing is, like, Daredevil can punch people. You should be learning chi manipulation and all this other, like...
Because, again...
stuff.
Wouldn't that be part of the training? Is chi manipulation? Is like, you have to be, control, like, just before you actually go fight the dragon to get the, the heart of the dragon or whatever, you have to be able to maintain a certain chi level or know how to control your chi. It's like chi learning, Iron Fist 101. That should be like in the course, part of your courses.
Did the dragon let him win? But it's a really weak dragon.
Exactly. Because at that point, that dragon probably let him win. But no, that was a huge positive. That he can just summon the fist when he wanted to. I thought his character again was a bright side. Again, it's with his character being like a good thing. It's two-sided to me. It's like, we didn't get enough of Danny because finally Danny felt good, but now we didn't get enough of him. But his character felt good. You like what they did with Colleen. I don't, but so I'm just not gonna talk about her. I just feel like in this, it felt like they just needed to do something with her, so they gave her all these, like, so much to do. or they just put.
You didn't like what they did with their season 1, or you don't like what they did with their season 2?
Oh, we're talking season 2. It just felt like they, because again in season 1 she didn't do a lot, and then this time they just we need more of her, so we're gonna throw so many things at her and hope like just push her more, and it just felt inorganic to me. That's what Colleen.
Okay, so I haven't actually got to that. I was saving my Colleen Wing stuff for negative.
Okay. My bad. I'm mixing both. Anyway, so let's go back to the positives. Well, I guess the introduction of Typhoid Mary, Ward was definitely a huge character that I really did like. I actually did like him in this season because again, to go through what he went through in season 1, to come out of it, and then to kind of like you kind of see his personal growth or his character growth. They show it to you in a very interesting way because there's so many times when he you kind of actually feel bad for him and feel sorry for him. I'm like, okay, I kind of like feel sorry for you, and that is good when you can actually connect to the character. I believe that's a good thing. So we and again, some of the story felt more cohesive than. And another huge positive was trimming the fat. Like you said, there were a lot of episodes or a lot of unnecessary things that they did in season 1. You take off 3 episodes and it just seems a little tighter. Again, a little tighter. Now, that's it for me on the positives. How about you tell us what your negatives are, sir?
Okay, so Colleen Wing is a very interesting thing. I think it's because she got so much praise and one of the few positives of the first season. They focused all on her storyline, and this isn't her story. You can give her a story,
right?
But it just isn't. And if you want to give her something different, spoiler warning if you don't know, like Colleen Wing ends up getting the Iron Fist in a very convoluted way of logic.
Bruh.
They slowly strip Danny away from everything, like even his ability to. He's even crippled at one point in the show. They try to give Danny Rand an addiction problem to the Iron Fist. Out of nowhere. Again, these are supposed to be like Shaolin monk type people that have trained their minds and their bodies for this power. I feel like they don't. I feel like there's writers that are writing about martial arts that don't really know about martial arts. And when you use the words like you will call me sensei in a dominatrix empowering role, like it's not. That's what it came off to me. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But it came off to me like a power thing instead of like, calling master. It's martial arts world. It's never like a. I don't know how to explain it. It's not like a status where I'm better. You know what I mean? It's not like you can. Like Goku will still call Master Roshi, even though Goku could beat Master Roshi a million times over at this point. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that was one thing that drew fans, and I guess you want to build her up, but you didn't have to strip Danny down in every way possible. If you were doing it for a story arc reason, like I felt it was leading up, we were constructing a hero. That'd have been something, but I feel like you still haven't built him up, so you're stripping him down just to give anything positive about him to Colleen.
Exactly, and that
was a problem for me.
Okay.
I didn't mention this in the positive. I like that they got rid of the last 2 episodes because Netflix seems to struggle with the 11th and 10th episodes a lot. 11th and 12th episodes. So I like that format. I didn't like the gun. So at the end, Danny apparently finds either some mystical guns or can still control a little bit. And now he uses guns to shoot chi bullets, which is stupid to me. It didn't look like a good special effect or even necessary to shoot somebody with a gun. You don't need chi energy around the bullet to do damage. I didn't like that. Again, I felt like I liked Mary's acting and portrayal. I don't like that, again, you have Davos and Danny Rand, who trained in these mystical ancient martial arts for decades, losing to the special force ops person, right? And I'm not discrediting special force ops, but like the best special force ops guy in the world should not be owning Brock Lesnar in a ring. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me. So, or even Colleen Wing, like she's a great martial artist, but again, she shouldn't be at the level that Davos and Danny are at this point because of the type of training. Like, you kids got beat with sticks and like bamboo sticks for nothing, apparently, because these guys had an easy life, and they are whooping. So,
right.
So I didn't like that, but I think it was to, again, I am a self-proclaimed social justice warrior, but I get why these things would annoy people, because it seems like you strip down the male characters for the sake of just stripping them down.
Right.
It seems weird to me.
Again, like you said, I liked Colleen in season 1. I liked her, having that arc. I liked her being part of the Hand. I thought that was cool. I get that she had hand training, but again, we don't know what kind of training you get from the Hand. We don't know who the Hand is. We just know in throughout all of Netflix shows, the Hand is this special organization that nobody really knows anything about. They just have soldiers and that's it. We don't know what level of training and fighting. I mean, we've seen in Defenders, we saw 4 or 5 of their soldiers, and we don't know the trickle down effect of that. But again, my thing is with Colleen is, yes, she has all this training, but we don't know how far it goes or how deep it is. We see every episode in season 2, we saw flashbacks of Danny Rand and his training. We saw that sunroom fight, and that was pretty epic, like fight to the death type thing to go get the Iron Fist. So we've seen Danny go through the ringer. We've never seen Colleen go through the ringer. Again, I understand you want to make her the focus or some sort of focus in the story, and I understand, but I feel like there's better ways to handle that than to just make it happen. She's the Iron Fist because her great grandmother was the Iron Fist, and all of a sudden you can just hand that down through legacy. And look,
I didn't like it. I didn't like that forced backstory. If you want to go into the history of this Iron Fist, I'm all for that. You didn't have to make it related. It didn't. It came out of nowhere. If you had hinted to it in season 1 at all, maybe. But it's not like just wanted an excuse to again give her the Hand.
Exactly.
To give her the Iron Fist,
because it makes.
And again, the part of the. Oh, go ahead.
No. I mean, go ahead. I feel like we're gonna say the same thing, but no, it's fine. Go ahead.
No. Well, I was gonna say, like, I was going to your point. The Hand. Also, the branch of the Hand she trained in was like the street, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 Foot Clan. Like, we took some kids off the streets. I don't feel like they knew a bunch of ancient secrets or anything like that. You know what I mean? I feel like they were street level things like that. And again, Colleen Wing was a cage fighter. She's proficient. It's lazy writing to me. I used to hate this when it came into comic books and other sci-fi. You don't have to bring a character in to beat all the characters you know's asses to make them a better character. We like struggle. We like, again, if you listen to any of my Star Wars rants on here, I don't care if you're a male, we don't like Gary or Mary Sue. Like, you don't need to have them come in and do stuff to show up all the other characters. You need to make things that are great about their character. And she already has that in stage. There was no reason to have her, the unbelievable way, go up against Davos and Danny. You know what I mean? Like, on a equal to better level.
Right. I mean, whatever happened to that cage fighting stint? That was just it and is one and done? Or, is there any type of repercussions from that? No, I guess not. Or maybe that you dealt with that in season 1. I mean, she went through so much in season 1 and she had a beautiful story. I really, seeing her see the people that she thought, was a family, were her family, like, be the people that whole thing, seeing her world crumble, that was nice. Again, you want to build her back up. You don't have to deconstruct Danny to build her back up, because again, you did kind of tear her down in season 1, but with everything you've done in between that, I mean, between the Defenders and what's Luke Cage season 2, we've seen some sort of growth. But you don't, again, you can do that, make it organic, make her story organic, but I just feel like they're again, force feeding her this thing so to make her more important. It's like, oh yeah, this is the bright spot, let's keep it here. We like Colleen, and I just want him to make her story and her arc more organic. Another thing I didn't necessarily like is,
but before you go to that, and the preface that we have no problem with strong characters.
Thank you.
Or even if Colleen became more powerful than Davos and Danny, like if they were like, oh, no one's been able to. You have to make it a reasonable. You have to give us an excuse of why she can do it, but like, oh my gosh, she can channel it into the sword. Like no one's able to do that before. Like,
right.
Like give us a reason why that's the case. No issue at all with her being.
No issue. Yeah, with her being the Iron Fist, that's fine.
Because she was already a lot more level-headed than Danny. Missy Knight's pretty much the most cleverest Netflix character. Her and who's a reporter from Daredevil?
Oh crap!
Who's been a secretary?
Yeah, I know.
True Blood.
Yeah, I know who you're definitely talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
They're the cleverest characters. Some of the characters on Netflix. I have no issue with strong female characters who like to convolute that. My issue is that it has to happen in an organic way where, you just got a power level boost out of nowhere, and it doesn't make sense story wise. That's a concern.
Yeah, and again, with the reason I mentioned the Iron Fist and the ED in season 1 is we saw Danny struggle with it again, and I guess, and in season 2 you show him work to get it. So I don't understand how he like we've seen his struggle to get it, and then we see him struggle with it. Colleen is able to power up day 1, punch a hole in the ground day 1. Again, because of this whole lineage thing, I thought that was where the story broke down a lot. And again, like you said, the fighting being better, yes, but then how is it that you have, like you said, a special ops person who has very different training, who's going hand to hand, toe to toe with Davos and Danny? You know what though? I didn't understand Ward's sister's story arc. I didn't understand her beef. I guess she
didn't, or you did?
I didn't. I guess she took what he did to her in season 1, hiding their dad, really, really personal, and that trauma caused her to just go, do what she did. Because again, I feel like you could have had Davos be the antagonist without her attaching it to her, in my opinion. Another thing I just felt like you don't know what to do with this character, so we're gonna attach her and make, again, and that's the way I saw it, we're gonna attach her and make her, and that, just make her an antagonist for a little bit, because eventually she changed halfway through it.
So Madame Yao,
yes,
is one of my favorite side characters of the series, right?
Yes.
So I liked her. I wanted to see more manipulation by her, and I hope everything's okay with the actress. I was just surprised I didn't see her in this, because when they were all together, it was her kind of corrupting Davos and her. So I was wondering where she was. So I took it as it did feel a little forced, but it didn't seem out the realm of responsibility. When you're hurt, you just lash out. A lot of times, it's really hard for us to see our loved ones in real life, in the real light, right? And accepting in a real light. Mm-hmm. So you can have, she loves her daddy. She had a relationship with her daddy, and in her mind, that relationship was continued. Was the chance to have that continue was robbed, because she can't ever see the person that he was toward. And a lot of times, mothers treat their daughters as they treat their sons. Fathers treat their daughters as they treat their sons. And so they had a very different relationship. He probably wouldn't have been as physically abusive as he was toward to her, but probably maybe more emotionally abusive. And it's really hard to see how, like, I don't know, I kind of like their dynamic, but I could be projecting a lot of how I see Ford's interaction with him. When he was in therapy saying, I've never defined myself outside of my relationships, that was really powerful. Was almost forgiven in a way for that. So, I mean, you could just take it as she's lashing out of hurt. Because I liked the little conversation with her and him when he was like, when I told you I broke my arm skiing, and it was really my, dad, when I had broken ribs, da-da-da. And you can see the, like, look of realization on her face, but now she's trying to justify her anger. That's all she has to hold on to. And sometimes, it's a lot of times where people, that's the only thing they have to hold on to is their anger. If they let that go, what else is left, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I saw it as. If I had to specify that a little bit more.
All right, I guess I feel like you're giving her more, or you're justifying a lot of her. But that so to me, so I think we've kind of, look, the last scene with Danny. So I guess because his hands were powered through. I mean, because we don't know what's up with Danny and the fist, right? We know he gave it to Colleen. Hers is white. Wasn't Davos's was red, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I guess they use that to show levels of, or rather the personality of the carrier. The carrier.
Right, so I kind of felt like you were doing like a Green Lantern, like the rings type of thing.
The Green Lantern, because Davos was pretty angry, so red would make sense.
And, Colleen is white or pure, and Danny the golden boy for, whatever. I don't know. I really don't know how I feel about all the I mean, it looks visually, it looks good, I guess. I felt like Iron Fist had an overall style, I would say that. But I mean, it was what it is. I didn't like the guns, and somebody told me that in the comics there's some kind of chi bullet stuff that goes on.
Doesn't
but
fucking matter.
I don't know much about
because
it.
Again, this is a different medium. I believe some things should stay in comic books, and I feel like that's one of the things that should have stayed in the comic books. If you're going to try to explain to me why he can shoot chi bullets, it was corny. It looked corny. The VFX on that looked very corny. Everything that led up to that looked corny. I will, however, say this.
It was also a lesser. You're a kung fu master, apparently. You're a kung fu master. It just felt like it took away from your character to see you using guns.
Yeah, exactly. That. Well, look, but I did, however, like the callbacks to the old costume with the in the sunroom. That fight. So, all in all, I think we're done talking about this show, unless there's something else you want to talk about. No?
I do like the chemistry between Misty and Colleen. I think they work well off together. I think this is an example of producers probably not knowing what makes this show work.
Mm-hmm.
I do not think it's the guy to play Van Jones?
Van Jones.
Van Jones. Like, I don't think it's his fault. And I think that he got a lot of blame for stuff that was out of his control. Because at the end of the day, it's a job as an actor. You can only do as much as they give you time to prep for. And I think it's unfair to blame him for that. I wanted him to get a shot. I think you didn't need to give Colleen the Iron Fist, make her an interesting character. I think you could have did something else and had a Misty and Colleen story other places, if that makes sense.
I feel like they just need to do Heroes for Hire and have like a Daughter of the Dragon spinoff. Combine both shows, because at this point, in my opinion, both shows suffered in their second seasons. But now let's just stick to Iron Fist. So overall, your grade and final thoughts.
If I had to give it a grade, I'd probably give it plus version. There's some things I like, but I get a C plus. Was it terrible? No. Was it passing? Yes. Nothing in this show that I'm gonna go watch again. You know, some shows you'll look up scenes. Like I've looked up the Daredevil. After Daredevil season 1 came up, I looked up that Daredevil fight scene a couple of times. I looked up. You know what I mean? You go back, you look at. There's nothing in this show that makes me want to go and look it up again. And I feel like there's a lot of that going on in a lot of these Marvel things. There's nothing for me to look back at Defenders about. There's nothing we look at Luke Cage season 2 really. So I mean, I think C plus. I was more generous, maybe a B minus, but I think C plus is where it's probably going to stay.
Yeah.
I appreciated the fight between him and Davos, and I liked the use of the sun because that comes from something else from another medium of martial arts films that I really like. So I thought that was really cool that they put that in there. But that's where I'm at.
Okay. Yeah. So I definitely 100% agree with you on that. I don't know about a C plus, C if there's anything as a C minus, because again, I feel like you did enough to make it more passable than season 1, but you didn't do too many special things to push it forward. I think like we're doing. I think it was a bare minimum type of evolution or bare minimum type of improvement. Like none of the improvement again. Fight choreography aside, that is tight. That is something that the show needs because it's a martial arts show. So that is nothing. I'm not gonna grade you on that because that is a compulsory part of the Iron Fist mythos and Iron Fist show. I will grade you on everything else: characterization, storytelling, and what you do with these characters in the story. Yes, you did some things with some characters, but then I feel like you're doing a lot more with side characters and B characters as opposed to your A character or your main character being deconstructed and brought down to let some of the other characters thrive a little better. That sometimes works, but then as a titular character, I feel like this is again. I still personally feel because at the end of the Defenders, Danny was given a protect my city. He was given a thing. And that is something you could have played up a bit more, but didn't. I just feel like there's you showed that there's a lot of upside to the Iron Fist show. That's what you showed, but you didn't do it though. You didn't go through with it. You just said, yeah, we can make this show better, but you didn't actually do that much. So in my opinion, a C is where I'll leave it at. I wanted earlier to give it a D, but after talking about it, a C, not that much improvement, because again, it was an F for me in the beginning. Just a C. And I think that is all we have for Iron Fist, and we'll probably do this again for Daredevil, right? Because that comes out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That comes out next month.
Can I ask one more thing about Iron Fist, though? Can I ask one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you more excited to see the season 3 of Iron Fist than you were to see the season 2 of Iron Fist?
Honestly, no. I'm still, I watch it out again. I watched season 2 initially out of curiosity, and then I kind of like just let it happen. It was just going on while I was doing a bunch of other things. Whatever was interesting to me, but no, I'm not, because I think with how you end is how you want people to however you leave the show off is how you want people, you leave it off wanting people to be excited. That last episode didn't leave anything for me to be excited about. I'm sorry, like it didn't. If you had ended the season or the episode right after the fight, you didn't need to see Davos and Danny have that talk. Honestly, I feel like that in the dark alley at that point when Colleen defeats him, I think in personally that would have been a better ending. You didn't have to go through, then you would leave me thinking, okay, so now what's gonna happen with the Fist? Who still has it? How does this work? Then I'd be more excited. I've seen her have, so they fast forwarded a couple months. I've seen her have the Fist. I see Danny with the Fist. I'm not excited. I just feel like you copped out, in my opinion. For what could have been a nice cliffhanger. But are you excited to see a season 3?
Honestly, I'm lukewarm. I would have been more excited to see a Daughters of the Dragon series than I am, because I feel like I'm still not going to get an Iron Fist. And even if you give her the Iron Fist, just having the mythos backing up, she's not really connected to Kung Lao. She's not really connected to Davos. I mean, I know you tried to give her that pirate princess ancestor thing later.
Right.
But I'm really not. This isn't the story of Iron Fist anymore. It's a superpower that got passed on to somebody else. You can just ignore it all because she has no responsibilities. She has no responsibility to Kung Lao. She has no responsibility to tap into an ancient wisdom or she never learned how to manipulate chi to cut off someone's arteries in their neck. Like this is Daughters of the Dragon, except she now has the Iron Fist.
Hey,
which could have been just channeling your chi into a sword, how she's going to use it. So, I think they did her character a disservice. I think she was a much more interesting character before they tried to force this on her.
Right. I was actually going to ask you a question. It came up and then it just kind of vanished. It'll probably come back to me once we're done, and I'm gonna be so upset because I can't put it. I feel like it was a really good one too. But yeah, this has been Mo and Anthony discussing Iron Fist season 2. Can't wait for all our shows to come back because I feel like all our shows are gonna come back at one time, and we're gonna be doing.
I'm back, bitches. I thought you could get away from it, but I'm back. I can't keep me off the podcast no more.
No, seriously, all our shows are gonna come back at one time, and so it's like we've taken a break, and it's in what I believe a very needed break. We had Star Trek every week, then we had Star Wars every week or every other week on top of that. Then we had that was a busy time, bruh. I was a really busy period. So I'm kind of glad for the breather now.
I went to the mountains. I found my chi master. I was across the world, sitting on top of the world, sitting naked, meditating under the stars. I got my energy back. I'm feeling my chi flow. I am the immortal Iron Fist now because we're giving it away. I'm gonna take it from all of them.
You are just giving it away. Ooh, would it be dope? How would you feel if for season 3 of, say, Luke Cage and season 3 of Iron Fist, they combined both together, gave us kind of like a Heroes for Hire kind of vibe with Daughter of the Dragons on the side? How would you feel about that?
I'd like it. Just combine the shows. Like, have this Luke Cage. It seems like they're going for this Luke Cage, we don't know good or bad type of thing, or he's gonna be skirting the edge or whatever. Just do Luke Cage season 3, and then instead of Defenders, I feel like that didn't really work out that well. Or have Defenders, the next Defenders movie, lead into them just being Heroes for Hire, and then I think they should do a rotating cast of characters you didn't think you'd see, like Typhoid Mary and stuff like that. Because that's one of the big things about the Heroes for Hire comic book. Like, you didn't know whether, all right, well, this month we got Deadpool with us for this reason, whatever. We have so and so. Like, you didn't know who you're gonna get.
Right. That'd be pretty dope. Anyways,
I'd be excited for that.
Yeah, that would actually make. See, that was the question. I knew it was a really big one. Thank you very much for listening. We will catch you on the next podcast, which I don't know which one it is. I think it's gonna be Daredevil before all our shows come back. But yeah, we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.